Welcome aboard the BK Escape Pod. That's right, it's the augmented and bionic podcast version of the live show you can hear Saturdays from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. Eastern on 100.3 FM and AM 1450 WBHF Radio. You can stream the show live there Saturdays at WBHFradio.org or on the free Tunein app. Look out, here we go. Oh, and by the way, if you hear me give out a telephone number, don't call because this is a rebroadcast, and our janitor Charlie will answer the phone, and believe me, you don't want to talk to him. He's an ornery little cuss.
And no sidewinding, bushwhacking, hornswoggling, crocker is gonna roll my biscuit cutter.
Now, who can argue with that?
Rev it!
Stand by to receive our transmission.
Well, you know, maybe we should have all dressed up in tuxedos today.
We could tell people we did.
Walter PPK.
The rest of you should have. I thought we were dressing up in tuxedos.
Did I not send the email to you guys?
You know, it'd be funny how we would all show up because you would probably wear the T-shirt.
You got that right.
That's what I would wear too. I'm not going to wear the whole tux.
Or well, I imagine you would purposely go and get like the from the movie Carrie, like the way they dress for their prom, you know, with the powder blue and the frills. I'd be the only dummy who would try to actually go spend a couple $100 to go. Like, well, I thought we were, and like, oh, I didn't realize this was.
No, but you'd be darn sharp looking though.
I'd be a sharp dressed man.
You'd be something.
And what's the difference? Let me ask this. And hey, it's BK on the air, by the way. Today is going to be 007 heavy. Let's just say that. We're going to be heavy on 007 today because today is the day. Actually, last night at midnight, I guess, or maybe Thursday, or 2 weeks ago for some people we know in media.
For our friends in the UK.
And some people that have a radio show in St. Louis get to see it early. We don't get to see anything early, you know.
Yeah. We're not connected.
But that's okay. We'll go see it on opening day with everybody else. Why not be just normal like everybody else?
Or
that's the only time I'm
this
normal.
Coming week.
Yeah, or you're later always. You're always later. But so you do get to every now and then go to a premiere, which is not too bad. So,
every now and then.
Yeah. If it's a Marvel movie, maybe you get to see some of those. James Bond, No Time to Die, the final installment of, not the James Bond series, hopefully. It's Daniel Craig's final appearance as James Bond. Opens for everybody, and it should be out now for everybody to see. I've got my tickets. We're all going to go see it. Today is Saturday when the show is on live. We're going to see it today somewhere around 4:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to go see it today and find out what all the hubbub is about on this film. I'm a James Bond fan, have been for years. The first Bond film I ever saw, I want to share this with you guys, was Live and Let Die. Roger Moore's first film, Live and Let Die. I was a little kid in the backseat of the car when my parents went to see it at a drive-in.
Oh.
Get your minds out of the gutter. No, they weren't doing anything while I was in the car.
Okay.
I
would assume they
would. It's only 5 years old.
I didn't go anywhere close.
I was only 5 years old.
I just accepted the fact that your family went to a drive-in movie.
Right. The other people that were thinking about it. I didn't mean you guys. But you guys' minds are clean all the time.
Poor BK's mom.
So anyway, Mom and Dad got to watch the movie that time. So, yeah. So I'm sitting in the back seat. The only thing I remember from that film, being a kid in the back seat, is if you guys remember the title sequence, the whole movie of Live and Let Die is kind of voodoo influenced. The title sequence by the fantastically legendary Morris Bender, who's no longer with us, who designed all those wonderful James Bond title sequence, which we'll talk about, too, as we get into the show today. Had a flaming, it comes out with a girl's face, and as soon as Paul McCartney goes, live and let die, duh, and you know how the song goes, produced by George Martin, longtime Beatles producer with Paul McCartney and Wings. Her face instantly changes into a skull that's on fire that comes right out at the camera. Well, that's really the only thing I remembered from that film, and it scared the as a kid.
Garbage.
On the way home from that movie, I'm riding in the back seat. No seatbelts. This is 1972.
You're on the back deck.
I'm in the back. Yeah, I'm in the back of the. Sometimes, I even crawled out the window in the back. Yeah, sometimes that was great. Especially at night when you see the stars up there and you're going down. The
I would lay
car.
Sideways and watch the headlights of the cars behind us.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
That's
and
how
then
we
when
got.
you slammed on brakes, you You end up in the front seat.
You were Superman for about 3 seconds.
It was awesome. It's like zero gravity.
Wasn't it great growing up in the 70s? And we actually made it, thank goodness.
I'm still alive.
Still alive. Just a few bumps and bruises here and there.
I'm not dead yet.
As I looked out the back window going down the road doing that from the drive-in, I imagined that skull chasing our car coming out of the darkness. You know, a kid's imagination goes crazy, and mine really goes into overdrive, still does to this day, and it really scared me. So that's the big thing I walked away from after seeing that movie. And some of the images of the guy in front of, because you know Jane Seymour is in Live and Let Die, and the guy that got her tied up to the pole, and he's holding the snake in his hand, coming up close to her and about to let it bite her. And then remember, there's an actor named Jeffrey Holder, I think was his name. He went on to be in the 7-Up commercials. He plays the voodoo priest guy that's in the film, and he has that unmistakable voice. You know, that's about all he does in the film is laugh.
Isn't he also the voice of the crab from the Little Mermaid?
I don't know. Is he? Did he do the voice?
I thought so.
Okay,
yeah.
maybe he did. He had a voice. He had that voice, man. He's no longer with us, but he was creepy. You know, because he came out. There was a scene where he comes out of the grave. They're all doing this dance to bring the dead back to life or whatever, and Live and Let Die. And he comes up out of a grave just straight up with a top hat on. And Roger Moore's James Bond is all off to the side, and he shoots him, and his face blows off, and it's a mannequin. It's a robot, and that was freaky, which was weird. So a lot of images from Live and Let Die are in my brain. Now, the later Bond movie I would watch, ABC used to be the only network that would replay James Bond's movies in the 70s, early 70s, all the way up to the 80s. They had exclusives to show the Bond films. And the local affiliates were always warned, you know, this is a Bond movie, so your 10 o'clock news or your 11 o'clock news will be late if you play this movie because it's going to go over the running time. We can't edit it down. And the first one I remember seeing on ABC was Thunderball. You know, I got to see that one as a kid, and that's one I kind of remembered the most. But the first Bond film I saw in the theater, you guys remember your first experience of James Bond going to the theater to see a James Bond film? Walt, what was your first one you saw in a theater? Do you remember?
I think Live and Let Die.
So you saw Live and Let Die back when you were a kid, too.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Was it a walk-in theater cinema?
Yeah.
Okay, mine was a drive-in. Al, do you remember which one of the first
Mine was
ones
Moonraker.
Moonraker. You see, in 1979, you saw Moonraker. That's one of my favorite. Well, we'll get into that. Today, the first one I saw in the theater, believe it or not, I did not see Bond in a theater until Never Say Never Again, the Warner Brothers official remake of Thunderball with Sean Connery coming back. So that's the first one I saw. And from that moment on, I've seen every one of them in the theater. I think, except the last two Pierce Brosnans, which I didn't miss much because I was kind of let down by the last two. So today we're going to talk James Bond. We're going to give our favorite James Bond film from each actor that played James Bond. It's going to be really difficult for George Lazenby. It's Lazenby, I think, is how you pronounce his last name. It's going to be difficult
George
on his.
Lazenby didn't learn his lines.
Lazy Australian with that swagger.
Then decided to smoke weed instead of being James Bond again.
He was a hippie.
He became a total.
You see the pictures of him after the film's over,
and he's like 9.5 feet tall, and he looks like
long hair and stuff.
Yeah, it looks like a deadhead.
We'll talk about our favorite James Bond. We're going to talk from each actor our favorite James Bond film. We're going to come up and talk about our favorite song from a James Bond film. I got a couple. I got some trivia about James Bond. I got something called Bond by the Numbers. I'm going to give out a number, then I'll tell you what that number signifies in the piece of Bond trivia that we're going to talk about. I'll even talk about the gun barrel sequences of James Bond. You may or may not know this, but every actor usually played their own self in the Bond sequence, but one actor was played by a stuntman in the first 3 Bond films. I'll talk about that. That's a little trivia question for you. Regular trivia. What else I got here? The best James Bond in a poll that people voted for. You may not believe this poll when you hear it. You may understand who number 1 is, but a lot of the others fall really strange. Speaking on the air, grab your Aston Martin and we'll take a trip.
We'll return after these messages.
This summer, try skin diving. Try skydiving. Try water skiing. Try keeping up with Bond. Timothy Dalton is James Bond 007. License to Kill. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, July 14th at theaters everywhere.
Now pay attention. Ordinary watch. with a remote-controlled bottle opener. Ordinary koozie. Oh! Electrical impulse allows only one person to drink it. Briefcase. Choose a Heineken in 0.4 seconds.
Q, why would James Bond need all these?
They're not for him. They're from a holiday.
Classic TV fans, The Bill Dana Show ran from 1963 to 65 for a total of 42 episodes. An experienced comedy writer, in 1957, Bill debuted his fictional character, Jose Jimenez, and it was an instant smash. In 1961, Danny Thomas hired Dana to play Jimenez in his sitcom Make Room for Daddy. Although he only appeared in 8 episodes, the character proved popular enough to earn his own series, which was titled The Bill Dana Show. Its cast included a couple of soon-to-be legendary classic TV characters. Jonathan Harris played the hotel manager, Mr. Phillips, and was very reminiscent of Dr. Zachary Smith. Also, Don Adams played the bumbling house detective Byron Glick, who was a shoo-in for Maxwell Smart. In fact, Dana had indirectly helped develop the legendary Get Smart character. As an early writer for Don Adams' comedy routines, Bill penned the catchphrase, "Would you believe?" This line was also used on Dana's show and eventually made it on to Get Smart. The final Jose Jimenez TV appearance was in one of the window cameos on Batman in 1966. By 1970, Dana had reportedly grown self-conscious of the way the character poked fun at Latinos, so he decided to retire, or should I say kill off the character, complete with a fake Hollywood funeral. During his career, Bill Dana had to juggle 3 different names. You see, Dana was his stage name. With an even deeper connection to Get Smart, he was born William Zathmary. His older brother Irving wrote the series' iconic theme song. During an Ed Sullivan appearance, Bill joked that a woman had recognized him in public, but only knew him as Jose. When she asked him what his real name was, he told her William Zathmary, to which she responded, "No wonder you changed it to Jimenez." This is Pat McCormick with your Retro TV trivia from the Golden Rage of TV. You can also find me on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at Golden Rage of TV, and on Twitter at Golden Rage of TV1. And now back to BK on the air.
Thank you, Pat, for that trip into the Golden Rage of TV. What an awesome thing to talk about is Get Smart, since we are going to be talking about James Bond today. Really a spoof of James Bond for sure, if you ever watched Get Smart or you watched it growing up. I'll tell you another show that I watched as a kid that I got to see in reruns in the 70s, which was obviously James Bond influenced, was a show with, you guys familiar with the actor Patrick McGowan? He actually played King Longshanks in Braveheart with Mel Gibson. He's played in a lot of different movies. He had his own weird television series in the early 70s called The Prisoner, where he was a prisoner in this village and he couldn't get out. It's a very trippy 17-episode show, which has a cult following. But he was in a television series called Secret Agent. And the main theme of it, at least in America, was sung by Johnny Rivers, called Secret Agent Man. The song Secret
Agent Man?
They actually put... Well, that's the other film.
It's the Hong Kong knockoff.
I think that's the spinoff of MASH. But yeah. In England, it was called Danger Man. And they changed the title sequence and changed it around a little bit and added that American song onto it and repackaged it for American audiences. And it called it Secret Agent over here. And it was a really great television show. It basically was the Connery era. If Connery's era James Bond had a television show, that's what it was. It was Secret Agent, Danger Man. And it was really great. Had all those espionage stories and the evil doubles and the Russians and the Iron Curtain fighting them and him sneaking people out and stuff. It was a very well done show. If you ever get a chance to find it streaming, which I think it might be on Amazon Prime, but I can't remember. But yes, if James Bond was a television series, it would have been Danger Man, a.k.a. Secret Agent Man, with Patrick McGowan. He was a great actor, too. And, I think he guest starred on Columbo more than any other actor. Patrick McGowan played in Columbo as the killer that gets outed at the end of every episode. I think there's a little trivia question about Columbo that Patrick McGowan was in more episodes. Even the later 90s.
Talking about typecast. You were typecast as a murderer on the same show.
On the same show.
Every week.
And audiences accept you by going, wasn't he in the last
that
five?
Guy
and,
seems
it's
right.
still great. So
he played the tennis pro in the last episode, but no, now he's an oil magnet.
You just comb your hair the other way, slick it back.
I didn't even recognize him.
Oil magnet.
Hey, he put glasses on Clark Kent. We don't know he's Superman. So, in entertainment, it doesn't take much
Wait,
to
wasn't
fool
that guy?
people.
Well, you got to remember those movies of the week. It wasn't like you had a Columbo every week.
Right.
I mean, maybe once a month or
right. They came out later as
rotate.
movies of the week. Yeah,
Right.
much later, like
but
in the 90s.
It was in part
too.
of a rotation, wasn't
Right.
it? Where they had
21 times a year, same
They
guy.
did it in the
Same
90s.
guy.
And even Patrick McGowan was in the 90s Columbo, too. He came back again as the killer. Oh,
but I was in
great.
a blue tie.
But I figured out how to trick
that's
Columbo
great.
this time.
But
This time I figured it out.
I'm a sucker for finding out at the end. What we talked about this before was Columbo. What a premise to go and go. Okay, I got a premise for a show. It's about a guy that works for he's a private investigator. He's an investigator for the police department. And you know who the killer is at the beginning of the show. The whole show is about him just tricking the guy in the end to giving it away and then releasing just boom, at the end he says that it's him and he kind of traps him. And the guys are like, you can't tell who the killer is at the beginning. We find out who the killer is at the end. He's like, no, I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it this way. And they did it, and it was a success.
Yeah.
Doing it that way. So they broke the mold on that.
Because they turned the detective piece on its head, saying,
right,
we all know who did it, but are they going to get away with it this
Right.
time? The trick was, are they smart enough to actually get
Right.
away with it?
Well, we get that, but I'm saying producers were saying that's never going to fly.
Oh, no, I get it. Yeah, I get why. I get why the bean counters
Come
wouldn't
on.
figure that out.
But watching the police aficionado that you are, Walt, that I know, the TV shows, I've been watching lately. I've been rewatching Dragnet with Jack Webb, and I started with the '50s episodes in black and white because it started as a radio play. He made it a radio play all the way up to the '50s, and in the '50s he turned it into a TV show. Then it went off the air a few years, came back in 1965 as a color television series with Harry Morgan from MASH as his It was before he was in MASH, and I'm watching Dragnet, and it's all from true stories. It says at the end, this is the story you're about to see is true. We just changed the names. Well, watching Dragnet is incredible because I'm like, wow, I can't believe that this man wrote every episode, starred in every episode, and directed every episode. Jack Webb, and that's a lot of work.
I don't think he was
30
still
minutes
around
long.
when the movie came out, right? The Tom Hanks,
he'd passed
Dan
away.
Aykroyd.
But what was weird is I didn't know when I saw the movie Dragnet. It was okay. It was funny, I guess. It was a good Tom Hanks, Dan Aykroyd vehicle. But it was a direct sequel to the TV series.
Right.
Dan Aykroyd was playing his nephew or his grandson or something.
Yeah.
And Harry Morgan is in it as Gannon from the original series. He's in the show. And they even have a picture of Jack Webb on his desk.
Yeah.
And
it's such an over-the-top movie.
It is, and
it's really
he's
funny.
just a caricature of him, which was kind of cool. But it's probably my favorite police series of all time is Dragnet, because watching it, discovering it again, it is amazing. Well, today we're talking about James Bond, another fantastic cinematic. There's that phrase that we use a lot now, cinematic universe. We didn't say it back when Bond was on. We're just like, back in the old days, we're like, oh, it's the James Bond movies. They all take place within the James Bond movies. New Bond movie opened last night for a lot of people, but officially, yesterday for everybody. No Time to Die. Isn't it interesting? Bond movies have to have a certain title. Just listen to all the titles of the Bond films. It has to have that. I mean, I wonder how many titles they go through before they're saying, no, that's not right. Oh, what about this? No, that just doesn't sound right. Think of something else. It has to have that. You hear the Bond title, and you're like, that's a Bond title.
Yeah.
The Man with the Golden Gun, Dr. No, Moonraker, The Spy Who Loved Me. They all roll off.
Well, a lot of those were the titles of the books.
Right.
And then as other movies became sort of a conglomeration of or reinvention of they would come up with different titles.
And then I think, was it Moonraker? They ran out of books after a while. I think it was after Moonraker, they had no more Ian Fleming books to even use the titles of. They had to come up with their own kind of titles after that.
Like The Living Daylights.
Right.
I knew when I heard that title that movie was going to not be good.
License to Kill, it's like... I mean, some of them have a one-word title, but it's a very powerful word. Skyfall, GoldenEye, Goldfinger,
Yeah. I've got one. I've got a one word.
Yeah, right.
What are you chuckling about?
I don't think I'm going to be the one who says that.
I've said that on the air here before, and I didn't catch anything for it. And I will probably say it today because it happens to be one of my favorite ones by a certain actor, and we'll get to that. But I want to do this poll. Let's see if I can do the poll here before we go to the bottom of the hour. If not, it'll take us over after we flash the audience. The best James Bond after millions of people vote in a poll at Radio Times in Europe. Now, this was based in Europe, but anybody over the world could log on and vote for their favorite Bond actor. And I think this one was one of those where if you vote once, that's it. You can't vote over and over and over again. You click the name once, and that was it. Now, they included only the official Bond actors on this poll that were in what's called the MGM Eon production films, which means the official Bond movies, which means the first Casino Royale with David Niven was not available. You couldn't vote on that one. You couldn't vote on the first Bond appearance on television. The first guy to ever play James Bond, this is in our trivia coming up, is Barry Nelson, an actor who played a guy named Jimmy Bond in a live, I think it was on CBS television production called Casino Royale in the, I think it was 60 or 61 was the first time it was ever on television as a live play. And it wasn't very good. I mean, it wasn't, about the only thing that was James Bond about it was they called it that. Nothing else. He was American, wasn't British or anything, so he wasn't available either. So, many fans voted in the tournament to decide who would be crowned the finest screen version of Ian Fleming's Super Spy. And by the way, you can call today, 770-386-1450, and tell us, your favorite Bond film, your favorite Bond actor, your favorite gadget, anything Bond you want to tell us is your favorite. Call us today and tell us. We'll be taking all those secret calls from MI6 all day today. And having that. Here it is. Round one saw Sean Connery, who sadly died on October the 31st, 2020. I still forget that Sean is gone. He's just one of those where I'm like, oh, yeah, he passed away. I keep forgetting that. It's hard to believe. Yeah. It was a knockout. Round one, current 007 actor Daniel Craig coming out on top with 56% of the vote compared to Craig's 43%, while Pierce Brosnan winning round two with 76% against his opponent George Lazenby's 24%. Now, this keeps going here. That's just the first round. But how
they did a bracket.
Right. So how this all irons out will be interesting. And after we come back after the break, I will tell you the rest of it, and then we'll flash the audience. So how this plays out is very interesting. I never thought it would do the way it did, but we'll have our the poll's favorites, the public's favorites at least voted in this poll, and then we're going to talk about ours in the next couple of segments. Our favorite Bond, favorite gadgets. I mean, how many gadgets did James Bond use? Well, in Moonraker, quite a bit. But facts, statistics, money making, how much did the movies make? But we'll tell you ours too when we come back.
We will return after these messages.
Circles, whirls, and curlicues, and clouds of color we...
Spirograph, the miracle drawing set that lets you make a million marvelous designs, now introduces Super Spirograph. Bigger, more exciting, with a new assortment of snap-together pieces that let you make bigger, more fantastic designs than ever before.
Dream designs, they can be mine.
With new Super Spirograph...
It's harvest time. Trees full of big, crunchy nuts. Time for a Mars bar. You get big, crunchy nuts in a Mars bar. Sun-drenched nuts gathered at the peak of ripeness. Toasted up golden brown. Mars bar. Big, crunchy nuts in creamy nougat, caramel, rich milk chocolate. If you like the taste of big, crunchy nuts, you're gonna love a Mars bar. You get big, crunchy nuts in a Mars bar.
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air here, having a good time. I want to tell you about Cartersville Bicycle Service and Supply. There's a new bicycle store right here in Cartersville.
Bicycle.
That's right. They may even, if you ask them nice and take your bike there, they may fix it up with some James Bond gadgets. And it wouldn't be James Bond gadgets. It would be Pee Wee Herman gadgets on a bicycle like Pee Wee Herman has. Cartersville Bicycle offers maintenance and repairs of all bikes as well as parts and accessories. Whether you're a veteran rider or just starting out, Cartersville Bicycle has what you need to get out and enjoy the roads and trails of Northwest Georgia and beyond. Stop in and see the shop. They're located at the corner of West Avenue and South Tennessee Street, and they're open every day, 7 days a week from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can call them at 470-315-BIKE. That's 470-315-2453. Or just search Cartersville Bicycle on Facebook, and you'll find them staring right back at you. Cartersville Bicycle, enjoy the ride. 770-386-1450 is our number. Hey, somebody's calling right now. It's BK on there. Hey, it's BK on there. Who's this?
Well, good morning. Is this Alan?
Alan is
I'm
here. But I can act like Alan if you want.
Is this BK?
Yeah, this is BK. All right. Hey, I'm Alan Sanders. How you doing? I don't like movies.
No, I'm Alan Sanders.
Win Academy Awards. Can I help you?
Alan Sanders.
How's that?
I like good movies.
I'm Alan Sanders. It's 2:23.
If this is the Vulcan hour, I've called to tell you live long and prosper because our friend is going to space.
That's right. William Shatner is about to go into space. How funny is it that Captain Kirk is going to go into space? I think that's very appropriate.
Well, at 90 years old, he now takes it. Of course, Wally. This is David Denault, by the way.
Oh, hey,
I just thought I'd call in and say good morning to you all.
Hello.
I miss you guys up there.
Good morning to you. Now,
We're
listen,
down in Florida.
Well, cool. We're actually taking people's calls this morning about their favorite James Bond and favorite James Bond movie. Since it's Bond Saturday, No Time to Die has opened up in theaters with Daniel Craig. Do you have a favorite Bond actor and film?
Well, I still like Pierce Brosnan.
Okay. Pierce was a pretty successful Bond. He really was.
Yes, indeed. So, is he going to die?
I don't know who Pierce.
Is Daniel Craig in the final one?
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. We're going to go see it today.
I know. We're waiting to go see it.
Yeah, let's hope not. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody.
I mean, he's done, but I don't want him dying.
Yeah, this is his last one. But do you have a favorite Bond movie that you like the best out of all of them?
Oh, I don't know that. That's all these Bond movies. I guess you really have to go back to the beginning of the original James Bond.
Well, which I did last month. I started at number one.
Say Goldfinger, probably.
It's a good one.
Yep. Well, good. Goldfinger's great. That's the one where they really hit their stride with their title sequence and the character and the songs and everything. It was really great. Well, that's great. Well, I'm glad you called in to check in from Florida. I was just down in Orange Beach, Alabama, a couple of weeks ago on vacation. Love the Gulf.
We're close to the spaceport, of course, and if anybody wants to watch us live for the launch of next Tuesday, we go live at 9:15. Just look at About Space Today on a YouTube channel, and I'd love to have you all tune in to see the launch of Mr. SpaceX himself.
Awesome.
We'll check it out. I saw a live launch of the Space Shuttle Challenger at nighttime back in 1983, and it's a spectacular thing to watch as a live launch. It's really fantastic to see it.
Oh, it's spectacular. Absolutely spectacular.
Thanks, David.
You guys have a good day. Have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye. Just as a side note, since he did bring it up, did you guys see Shatner in his blue costume?
Yes.
The only thing that was missing, which I wish that they would put on there instead of William Shatner on the thing, I wish they could have put Captain James T. Kirk on his name thing. It may be on the back. He hasn't turned around yet to show us the back of it, so it may have a Captain Kirk thing on the back.
Or at least put the emblem.
Yeah,
the Starfleet.
Well, the Space
emblem.
Force emblem is very close to the Trek emblem, and that's not what they designed.
It's not Space Force.
Not what they designed it after, but I'm saying the Space Force is pretty close to that. This is Blue Origin.
Blue Origin,
yeah. But
it would have been cool if they had his name badge have been William in quotes Kirk Shatner.
That's true. Well,
William
he's going to
Kirk
endure
Shatner.
all the jokes anyway, so I'm sure.
You know what though? That is really cool.
Kudos. He's over 90.
He'll become the oldest person to go to space now,
and to play someone who was in outer space on television and to finally make it. That's pretty darn great.
I told my wife, because she was like, "Why do we even care about this?" I'm like, "Do you understand? We are living in an age now that you and I," said Suze, "you and I could actually, before we die, go to space."
Yeah.
That's something we only thought was science fiction growing up.
Well, I can't even imagine someone saying, "Why do we care about this?"
I don't want to say that she's like
oh, okay.
about
I'm like, it's
about
phenomenal.
Blue Origin and Shatner. Like, why are so many people going crazy about it? Like, because it's basically making
awesome.
space travel available to everybody.
Right.
And Captain Kirk is actually going to space.
Captain Kirk / T.J. Hooker is going up into space.
Right.
You're exactly right. And
hopefully he doesn't see anything on the wing.
I just think it's so cool for so many reasons,
Someone else and with that tie-in, someone else said, "Hey, he's going to be the first hooker in space." So I'm like, okay, you're right, T.J. Hooker.
Well, and you think about how much Star Trek has influenced the space program.
Sure.
It just seems right that they would make him a part of it and let him go.
And how many countless of fans and people have always contacted the creators of Star Trek, all the letters the stars had gotten saying, "Hey, I went into so-and-so field because of you.
Yeah.
I went into the military and became a captain of a Navy ship because of you. I became a doctor because of Dr. McCoy. I became an engineer because of Scotty." That's a lot. That's pretty powerful influence.
It is.
Pop culture for
it
you
is.
to get stuff like
huge.
that. 770-386-1450. Somebody else is on the line. I got a good idea of who this is. Hey, it's Beaky on there. Hello.
Hello, Barry.
Oh, well, we were having a good time there until Schleprock from Flintstones calls in. Well, Z, what's going on, Eric? Jeez, cheer down, will you?
Get the Bond. Get back to Bond.
Yeah, well, let's get back to Bond. We are getting back to Bond with your call. So what's going on? You calling in with your favorite Bond and favorite Bond film?
Yes.
Okay.
Every Bond film is my favorite Bond except for the Bond from 1983.
Every Bond film is your favorite except for Never Say Never Again. Okay.
No, the other one.
The other one from 83 was Octopussy. It's the
I didn't
official
like
title
that
of a movie.
You didn't like
really?
that one?
You didn't like that's one of my favorite Roger. That's one of my favorite Roger Moore.
Anybody that knows me knows why I didn't like that one.
Okay, I don't know why you didn't. Oh, wait, I know why. The very first scene at the beginning is about 15 minutes worth of clowns.
Yeah.
I forgot.
There were clowns at the beginning?
Oh, yeah.
It's right past that movie.
008 is escaping East Germany dressed as a clown with the Fabergé egg.
Right. Because I was saying, because Roger Moore turns into the clown later in the movie.
Exactly, yeah. So now we know why.
I saw that one thing, went right past it.
Okay, sans that one, so you like you. That's kind of a blanket cop-out answer, Eric, is every Bond film. You got to have one.
But that's true.
Give me one that stands out among the rest. Come on, there's 25 of them. Give me one that stands out.
I got to say, because it's the Bond from my ear, is License to Kill.
License to Kill?
Okay, License to Kill. That's a good one. Who's your favorite Bond actor that portrays Bond?
It's between Timothy Dalton and Daniel Craig.
Okay, all right, two gritty Bonds. Okay, you got two really gritty ones.
If you look at every James Bond, if you look at the modern version, it's basically been every modern version has been a throwback to the original. One of the originals,
right? The way he's portrayed, yeah. And there's no wrong answer to this question when you ask who your favorite Bond is. Everybody's got an opinion on Bond, and that's what we're doing today is finding out what everyone's opinion is. That's great. All right, buddy. Well, appreciate it. We're going to go see it today, and I'll let you know what I thought.
You go see movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
I'll let you know. All right. Love you. Love you. Bye.
Toodles. X's and O's.
X's and O's.
Yeah, well, there is a worse Bond, and it is George Lazenby.
Shaken, not stirred. Easy now, steady now. Come on.
What did we say earlier? Who's your least favorite Bond, and why is it George Lazenby?
No, why is it Pierce Brosnan?
I got an opinion on that one. Come back. Speak in there.
We will return after these messages.
It's a matter of life. It's a matter of death. It's a matter of a beautiful Italian spy, 7 killers, a voodoo witch doctor, a living corpse, a gorgeous double agent, 12 cars, 5 planes, 10 acres of land, a wedding reception, a double-decker bus, a fleet of speedboats, a sea of crocodiles, the beautiful sorceress named Solitaire, the man with the steel arm, and a retired Navy LST. All against one man.
My name's Bond. James Bond.
Roger Moore is James Bond 007. In Ian Fleming's Live and Let Die, 007 is on a worldwide manhunt, and the body count is going up. It's livelier, it's deadlier, it's Roger Moore as James Bond 007 in Live and Let Die. From United Artists, rated PG, parental guidance suggested. Live and Let Die.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
How you holding up?
I'm all right.
You want to go for 10 miles? If we make it, I'll buy you a beer. If we make it, I'll buy you a Lowenbrow.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
So I'm trying to think if Abracadabra by Steve Miller could have been a Bond song. Trying to see girls dancing around to this playing. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Here, I'll dance and you tell me.
No, it doesn't work. It does not work.
Silhouette only, please. Silhouette only. Let me put a lot of lighting behind you, or I'm blinded.
The lighting's
blinded by the light.
The lighting is actually in front. Like that's what you're looking at. It's just a light.
And kind of like me, Walt has a heck of a silhouette that can be seen. I mean, we can see our silhouette from the moon. Kind of like the Luxor light in Vegas.
In Vegas.
You can see it from the moon, they say. Or from
Is it
space.
an eclipse? No,
Total
it's
eclipse of something.
Walt test dancing for a Bond movie.
Screen testing for a Bond girl silhouette.
Well,
these movies have really hit rock bottom.
Let's face it, Walt. You can identify as a girl if you want to and be in a Bond film. That's
Hey, it is
quite
2021, right?
I'm going to identify as a secret agent and just be one.
Dude, can identify as a Bond dancer.
I'm a Bond girl.
This world is really a mess.
I guarantee you, that's a Bond film I'm skipping. I'm not seeing that on the big screen or the small screen. I'm not going to watch it.
There would be no way to even have a serious
It wouldn't fit on the small screen.
We are. Yeah, you need
James Bond would just go to the Varsity and have a chili dog.
Alan Sanders size plasma screen to watch the flat screen on that one.
There'd be it wouldn't even be like a bad guy in the movie. It'd just be like James Bond's week off.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
The jet.
No Aston Martin. He gets a used Pinto to drive. Mr. Bond, I'm going to kill you by hitting you in the rear of the Pinto very
whatever
hard.
you do, don't get rear-ended.
But just tap it like Top Secret. Didn't it? Chevy Silverados have that problem too for a while too when they were sideswiped in the side of the gas? Remember that in the 80s?
Oh yeah,
when the
that's
GMC,
right. Yeah,
it was the GMC Sierras of the trucks or something.
Yeah,
had
and
that
they'd
problem,
catch
too.
fire.
All these two vehicles blew up when you hit them just right. You just got to hit that sucker just right, and it'll blow up. We're heavy. We're heavy on 007 today.
We're something.
We need to reverse the order of the numbers. We're 700 pounds. 700 instead of 007. Hey, what secret mission am I going to go on today, Em? Right. Your secret mission today, Mr. Bond, is to go to Jenny Craig. Well, let's get back. I want to get back to the poll here because talking about everyone's favorite Bond. And you can call us today, too, by the way, and tell us your favorite Bond and favorite Bond film. Round one saw Sean Connery knock out the current actor 007 Daniel Craig with 56% of the vote compared to Craig's 43%. Pierce Brosnan winning round two with 76% against George Lazenby's 24%.
That was an easy win.
That's a big surprise. But he got 24%, though. That's not too bad.
That was more of a vote against
was
Pierce
that his
Brosnan.
Family? Was that his family voting?
No, it's like I said. It was a vote against Pierce.
Pierce. Okay, here we go. This gets even more interesting. Round three saw perhaps the most surprising result yet in this poll. Everyone voting for James Bond, their favorite James Bond. Roger Moore was knocked out of the competition with 41% of the vote. He lost out to his immediate successor, Timothy Dalton, who scored 59% of the vote in this.
That's the highest
poll that they did.
that's not the highest because Pierce.
The grand final thus pitted Connery against both Dalton and Brosnan, with the Scottish actor emerging, obviously Connery, with 44% of the vote of people's favorite James Bond. Dalton ended up in second place with a reputable 32%, while Brosnan came in with 23% at number 3. So for me, the surprise, as much as I love Timothy Dalton, I wasn't expecting him to score as high as he did in this big poll.
But you know what?
He did.
If you did a bracket like that and put Pierce Brosnan against Craig in the first round, Brosnan would have been knocked out by Craig.
Right, absolutely.
So the only reason why Brosnan moved on is because he was up against Lazenby.
We're getting into sports talk now, and I don't know. I don't understand that.
Well, because everyone's like, who's Lazenby?
Right.
Now, Hollywood legend.
There was a guy named George.
Hollywood legend Connery played James Bond 6 times in the official series. 770-386-14. Oh, they hung up. Somebody was calling in. Sorry about that. Call back. If you want to talk about James Bond. Why? Because I said the Bond title, or we were going nuts earlier?
No, the Bond title.
Just
sure,
yes.
Let them. Come on.
It's just a yes. Just a blank yes.
Just whatever gets me in the newspapers. I'll take. Oh, they're calling back. Here we go. 770-386-1450. Hey, it's BK on there. Hello, who's this?
I just want to say, since you're having a little sports talk, go Dogs.
All right, yeah, we'll say that. Go
Dogs. Since I got you on the line, let's go no sports talk and tell me who's your favorite James Bond.
Herschel Walker.
What was the very first one? What was his name?
Sean Connery.
So the very first one was Barry
Connery.
Nelson. But Sean Connery, okay. Good choice. Yeah. Keep listening, because we're going to tell you who our favorite is and our favorite films and a lot of other things.
Y'all have a great weekend. It's a beautiful day outside. Get outside, enjoy the sun, and have a great week.
Go enjoy the beautiful day inside in a movie theater.
Go drive in and enjoy the night. You'll still be outside. So, well, let's. I want to try to sneak these in before we get to the top of the hour. Let's flash the audience of the news, the weird, the strange, and the bizarre. I've got the first news. From WGCL TV Channel 46 right here in Atlanta, thousands of bees were removed from a vacant house in Atlanta after neighbors said they lived in fear of the insects for several weeks. Residents living near the empty house said they first started noticing bees swarming around it in the spring, and the number of insects have been gradually increasing ever since. A bee removal service hired by the property owner arrived this past Thursday and removed thousands of bees from the exterior and the interior of the home. So the workers told him that they removed an estimated 98% of the bees. Well, that leaves 3% left. 3% bees could do some harm if you're not careful. Dave Marshall, director of the Metro Atlanta Beekeepers Association, said the property owner did the right thing by hiring professional servicemen to perform the removal. So, yeah, don't just call Billy Joe Bob and his bee removal service to come out there. Hey, I can take care of them bees for you. Why do you have a flamethrower? Well, we want to save the property, if you don't mind. And I gave you the next one. You'll see why I gave you this one, Walt, by the way.
Well, this will be scary because this is a fresh read, so I'm sure there's some messed up names.
No, you'll love it.
Okay, from the UPI. Whoops. Oh, I'm sorry. I've got the next.
I played it. It's okay. He hasn't been here in a while, so he has to.
From the UPI flash.
It's timing, right?
What?
It's all about timing.
Right. That was funny.
You are acting so weird and immature.
All right, from the UPI. I'm an idiot. From the UPI.
Is that the story?
Yes.
Okay.
Walt Murray, local idiot.
It's impossible. And I'm glad you're back, by the way, because I know when you were here last time we had technical difficulties and we all had to go home early.
That's right.
I'm sorry about that.
Or we got to, one or the other. A British man broke a Guinness Book of World Record when he built a riding lawnmower that reaches a speed of 143.19
see why I gave you
miles per hour. Yes, this is awesome. Tony Edwards, a mechanical engineer from St. Martin's, Shropshire, England, said he became interested in building the world's fastest lawnmower about 2 years ago. Edwards said he built the lawnmower from scratch, enlisting the help of a welding expert to help with some of the chassis work. The lawnmower is powered by a 1,300cc unit from a Suzuki motorcycle.
That's the lawnmower you should aspire to, Walt. Wouldn't that be great? You could you could mow your lawn in it's 4 minutes.
This is one of those things like...
Yeah, but only in a straight line, because if you try to turn, you're dead.
Yes. Well, man, yeah, if you've got a 3-foot wide lawn that goes 2 miles, you'd have this.
And I know where you were going with that. Shropshire Slasher.
Edwards said Guinness also stipulated the lawnmower had to be able to actually cut grass.
Well, of course.
Edwards' lawnmower reached a speed of 143.193 miles an hour when he took it for a spin at Elving Ridge Airfield in York, England. Edwards said he believes the lawnmower can go faster, but it becomes more dangerous because the front wheels leave the ground, making steering especially difficult.
You would think.
Okay, here's what I want to see. I don't want to see him on an airfield. I want to see him in a field of grass mowing it at 100 miles an hour. I want to see it move that
would
fast
be awesome.
with grass blowing out.
So amazing.
That would be awesome. Well, we're gonna
instead of like the wake of the jet ski water, it's just grass.
Grass flying out.
And of course, my neighbors would be like, "Murray's at it again."
Yeah,
there he is.
But I wish he would mow my grass with that thing. That would be really fun. We'll save the last news flash.
How loud would that lawnmower be?
We'll come back with Alan Shakespeare with the another news flash when we come back. We're heavy James Bond today. We'll continue to take your calls about James Bond. We'll tell you more about our James Bond favorites. Some might surprise you, some might not. We talked a little bit about it last week with Alan Sanders because we knew this movie was on the horizon. Bond trivia. We'll do more stories. I got a story, too, about an animated Gremlins television show. We got stuff other than Bond coming up, too. It's BK on the air.
Warp drive, Mr. Scott.
When you flick the safety spin start on the Toro, you've got the power of the whirling wind working for you. Wind power. The extra power you get in the new Whirlwind from Toro. The rotary mower that pulls the grass up for a more even cut. Here's why. The Whirlwind has exclusive wind tunnel design with so much pulling force, it actually pulls the grass up for a more even cut. The Whirlwind from Toro. Not only cuts the grass, but bags it. Bags grass in the summer, bags litter in the spring, and bags leaves in the fall. Yes, you've got the power of the whirling wind working for you in the new Whirlwind from Toro.
Nutty gritty, it's a snack you can munch. Nutty gritty, a healthy snack you can crunch. You take a bunch of nuts, any kind will do. Throw in a bunch of raisins too. Then invite a bunch of nuts to share with you your nutty gritty, nutty gritty.
Do something good for your bod and brush your teeth after snacks. Join the Bod Squad. Join the Bod Squad.
Identify for retina scan.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
Welcome to a very special edition of Star Wars Extra. This week we're bringing you Chatter from the Rumor Mill, a full episode of unconfirmed, unverified news, which is quite possibly a bunch of malarkey and wishful thinking, but of all, which would be amazing if came to fruition. I'm your host, Mike Mann.
Hello there.
This week, word spread from our friends at the Hashtag Show that concepts and storyboards are currently being drawn up for an upcoming animated Star Wars trilogy based on the original Lucasfilm timeless masterpiece.
What the whoopers?
You may say. Based on the overwhelming success of the Vision series, Lucasfilm will be releasing an animated series based on the second draft of The Adventures of Starkiller, Episode 1, The Star Wars, which is quite different from the Star Wars we all know and love, yet still amazing. And what better way to tell this story than through the eyes of the creator who visualized the Star Wars universe for all of us, Ralph McQuarrie. Yes, the animation is said to be based directly on the plethora of McQuarrie storyboards. The animated tale of the adventures of Starkiller would undoubtedly be an amazing treat for Star Wars fans.
Somewhere in space, this may all be happening right now. 20th Century Fox and George Lucas now bring you an adventure unlike anything on your planet. Star Wars.
Next, we go to the highly anticipated Obi-Wan Kenobi series. It's been confirmed that filming has wrapped up. It was simply a brilliant time. The anthology series post-production is heavily underway and will be released in 2022. Sources have recently reported that I Know a Guy told his friend that the long-awaited series will drop on May the 4th, Star Wars Day. Based on the average timeline, it has taken other Star Wars series from the beginning of filming to the series release. Fans are eagerly awaiting for Disney and or Lucasfilm to confirm the release date. And waiting, and waiting, and waiting, and waiting, and waiting. And last up, we go to the Inverse, who shared this week that the upcoming The Book of Boba Fett first episode will feature the elusive bounty hunter displaying an unknown skill. Boba's a beastmaster. The site reported that their source, close to the project, stated that there will be a scene of Boba Fett riding through the streets of Mos Eisley atop a Rancor. That's an extremely bold, hardcore statement and visual, and if true, will only bolster Boba Fett to a new level and will definitely live up to what Robert Rodriguez said will be overwhelming and overachieving. Fans will find out if the source is correct as the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett debuts on December 29th, exclusively streaming on Disney+. That's all the time we have. Don't forget to check out our Star Wars Extra podcast streaming wherever you find your podcasts, featuring our new Star Wars Extra toy collection series. Also, tune back in next week for all the latest and greatest in Star Warsing. For Star Wars Extra, I'm Mike Mann, reminding you,
I have been every voice you have ever heard inside your head.
And now back to BK on the air.
Thank you, Mike Mann, for that Star Wars Extra report. Speaking of The Mandalorian, you guys have an interesting guest star coming up on your Wilder ride. I'll give you a chance to plug it right now. Is it
came out a week and a half ago.
So it already aired. Okay, yep. I haven't heard it yet. Tell everybody who it is.
Misty Rosas. Her name is, she's just like Roses, but spelled R-O-S-A-S.
Right.
Misty Rosas is I guess she calls her like a body performer or a body character.
Kind of like an Andy Serkis motion capture.
A little bit like that, but like she started off being characters in Disneyland, like being the Donald Duck, dressing up.
Gotcha.
And she goes, you would have to have the mannerisms to bring that character to life.
And let's make no mistake about it. When Disney hires people to do that, they want the right, energetic person to act through that costume and do it, and that's why they're so good at it.
She is, what did she say? She's 4'9"?
Yep.
4'9". She was a gymnast, so she's very flexible, was a dancer.
Strong.
It turns out that her gymnastics coach was asked, do you know anybody who could play this character in a movie where we need somebody to dress up like a gorilla, like an ape? And she was in Congo.
In Congo, yeah. And she's just a little taller than you.
A little bit.
Just, I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
You can look eye to eye.
What's her Mandalorian tie-in?
No, so she eventually got she auditioned for and became the part of Kui in The Mandalorian.
I have spoken.
I have spoken, yes. And
Nick Nolte's voice. Yeah.
So what we found out when we interviewed her is Nick Nolte actually recorded all of his lines somewhere else at a different time. He was nowhere close to the set, never met him, never there. But he would give like 4 or 5 different takes so the director would have something to choose from.
Right.
And she said, even though it wasn't necessarily my mouth because it was an animatronic mouthpiece, it's her eyes, but it's a different mouth. So there's puppeteers controlling the rest of the movement while she's doing the body work. But she said, I always said the words that Nick Nolte said because it made me feel like I was that character. And and she brought him to life.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dave Prowse would do that as Darth Vader. He would say the words and act it.
Yep.
And the guy Peter Mayhew would do that for Chewbacca too, just so he could feel like he's giving the right performance, not just standing there with just his arms or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It helps them perform when they actually say the lines. They're going to be dubbed over later with either growls for Chewbacca or James Earl Jones for Darth Vader. So that makes sense.
We got a chance to speak to her, see what it was like to be on set. What's crazy is because of this, she's getting more now out of costume acting gigs, and she's like terrified because she doesn't have the costume
Starting to
anymore.
Panic a little bit, like, oh no,
oh my god, now it's just me.
You can't hide behind that costume anymore.
But she was so sweet. She was such
awesome.
a great guest, and I think she was. I mean, oddly, I think she was a little didn't know what to think of me and Alan at first, but then
a lot of people don't when they meet us.
Right, they hear stuff like we've done this morning, and they're like, "No way."
They looked at her headshots and went, "Ugh."
That's why we're on radio.
Well, that's not.
But she was so sweet. Such a great guest.
After Star Wars Extra, I thought we'd slip that in because they did mention The Mandalorian season 3 is coming up, and we wanted to get that in and let everybody check that out because that's going to be. I haven't heard it yet, so I'll probably listen to it this week on one of my long drives. I will tune in and listen to that. It's got to be fascinating.
Yeah, it's a fun episode.
Well,
she's a great singer.
Did you hear, though, and I'm not sure this has been 100%, I think it's nearly locked in, that Jon Favreau has won his argument to get Gina Carano back in.
Did hear that.
The
really?
Mandalorian.
Good.
And
Good.
Even though they can't use her in season 3 because they've already got most of it already locked down, they had enough outtakes from season 2 that they may create sort of like flashbacks or like where's she right now? Because she needs to be a key character in season 4.
Wow! So they're going to use alternate takes or other things that she's already shot, a la
from season
Carrie
2.
Fisher, like they did with Rise of Skywalker. Use her footage. That's going to be interesting to see.
Think about the pull, and apparently Dave Filoni also was like, "Look, we created this story arc, and it was supposed to help branch this entire. I guess we're in this whole cinematic world building again." Because we've got the Book of Boba Fett, which is based off of the Mandalorian, or with Boba Fett being in season 2. It's all going to supposedly cross over and come back and spread. And they go, Cara Dune is a huge character in the arc we've created, and you're just going to want to pull her out because of a tweet?
And
we got to bring her back in.
Her. Well, good. And her character's an awesome character. I love the character that she plays.
She was great.
She's great. Well, it's weekend there. We're going to take a break now. When we come back, Alan has maybe one more. We've got a couple more news flashes when we come back. We'll get back into James Bond, too, when we come back. I'm going to have Bond by the numbers. I'm going to give you a number and tell you what that number means, too, and then some James Bond trivia, some of which I know none of us in here know some of these trivia things about James Bond, including the gun barrel sequence and some of the kills that Bond made. Who killed the most people and which Bond killed the most? You may not understand when I tell you that. You'll be surprised at a lot of the facts and figures from James Bond. We'll be back.
I think you've made your point, Goldfinger. Thank you for the demonstration.
Choose your next witticism carefully, Mr. Bond. It may be your last.
Do you expect me to talk?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
And now, these messages.
Wake up, campers. Time for breakfast. Got it, Mom. You can't have cookies for breakfast.
But you can have Cookie Crisp. You can have that crunchy cookie taste with lots of chocolatey chips.
Hey, it looks like little chocolate chip cookies that stay crispy in milk.
It's part of a complete breakfast. So just remember this. You can have Cookie Crisp.
You can get 4 Superstar baseball cards free in specially marked boxes of Donkey Kong Jr., and Cookie Crisp cereals. 33 cards in all.
I've waited a long time for this, Luke Skywalker. Ready, Darth Vader.
Introducing Bespin World, new from Star Wars Micro Collection line. 16 die-cast figures and action poses included. It's 3 play sets in one.
I'll connect gantry to Bespin control room. Watch what happens to Luke.
Wow! Activate Bespin freeze chamber. Han looks frozen. Let's connect him. It's the whole world of Bespin.
Bespin World from Star Wars Micro Collection line. Playsets also sold separately. Figures included. New from Kenner.
And now, back to a guy who thinks William Shatner deserves an Academy Award. It's BK on the air.
Well, even just give him some kind of award when he gets back from space. I mean, come on, that would be nice to give Shatner some, maybe not an Academy Award, but just an award of some kind.
The oldest man in space award.
Because let's be honest, none of us are near 90. We're pretty close, but we're nowhere near 90 years old.
Does he look 90 though?
He doesn't look 90, but we would probably have to train. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say we'd probably have to train a whole lot longer than he did have to train to go into space. I'm just going to say it because he's always been. I mean, he's bigger than he used to be, but he's never sounded or acted old. Even at 90, he still doesn't sound like, because, some actors will reach that age. Clint Eastwood sounds old now.
Yes.
When I see him in that new trailer, I'm like, and then we said it before, he's starting to really sound old now, because he's old. But let's all make a pact here in the studio. We won't try our best not to age real fast. Let's slow it down and try to keep our voices, at the optimum levels of youngness and goofiness. So,
okay, I don't think you have to worry about the goofiness part.
For me, it's goofy. So, I think Alan has one more newsflash over there.
I do. I mean, yes, I've got at least one. Firefighters called to a California beach to conduct a cliff rescue arrived to find the reported person clinging to the rocks.
Oh, no.
The Santa Barbara County Fire Department said witnesses at Hope Ranch Beach called 911 to report a woman appeared to be stranded on the side of the cliff without proper climbing
Did they
gear.
rescue her?
Well, firefighters arrived with trucks, drones, and utility vehicles, but the would-be rescuers soon discovered the woman was actually a mannequin from a movie shoot earlier that was shooting that day.
In California. Wow.
Yeah. The department said the witnesses did the right thing, though, by calling 911.
I'll bet they did.
That's like every year there are 911 calls because people recreate the Christmas Vacation scene of Clark hanging off the side of the house.
Hey, I did this for a while when we decorated for Halloween growing up, is I would stuff a body in my clothes, look like it was hanging out the window, like hung. And we had people in the neighborhood go, did you have somebody, like they were worried if somebody had committed suicide hanging off the, like, it's Halloween. How do you not?
Think about it.
It's
Think
Halloween.
about it. It's Halloween. Little James Bond, John Barry's opening gun barrel sequence. That actual one there is from Moonraker with the gunshot there. We're going to talk about the gun barrel sequence and more James Bond trivia coming up here in just a little bit. Right now, we're going to go to the phones and see who's calling in. Hey, it's BK on the air. Who's this?
Hey, it's Jeff. What's going on, BK?
Hey, Jeff, nothing. We're just sitting here talking about James Bond and James Bond movies and all things James Bond and 007 and a lot of other crazy stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm a Sean Connery fan myself.
A great Bond choice, Mr. Sean Connery, and just
now.
Well, I mean, he just—it's almost like they wrote the role around him. You know what I mean? I mean, he was quintessential Bond.
I just like the way Sean Connery talks. The sound of his voice.
He did, and if Sean Connery heard you talk, he'd probably like yours too.
He better not.
He'd have to be a zombie if he did at this point, but yeah. So because everybody in England, I was around someone around England. My mom was many years ago, and they're like, "I just love the way you talk." And like, my mom has a deep Southern accent. I guess they like that in England. So
you sound like you're not from around here.
No, or from anywhere. Where are you from exactly? Well, that's a great that's a great choice, Jeff. How about a movie by James Bond? What's your favorite James Bond movie?
Oh,
you had to pick one.
Oh, pick one, probably Moonraker.
Moonraker. Roger Moore, very good choice from the Roger Moore era. That's really great. Well, we're all James Bond fans. Keep listening, and you'll hear us tell our favorites coming up here very shortly.
Yeah, check your phone, Alan.
All right, I will. Thank you, sir.
Jeff sending you a secret
Was
mission
that a threat?
from Jeff at MI6?
I don't know.
Was
Jeff threatening you?
Does you work for Jeff in MI6 here in Cartersville? Is he the MI6 of Carter? Check your phone. Is he sending you a photo of
No.
something?
No, I'm not. I'll save it for the commercial break.
Oh, okay, well then good. That's all I need to know. That's hilarious. Good. Well, James Bond's played a big part of all of our lives growing up. I was been a Bond fan for many years. I'm going to take you through something now called Bond by the Numbers. Listen to this. This is pretty interesting. I got this one of the I think it was Esquire everyone's doing a big Bond press flood right now of all kind of Bond things. First number is 26. The number 26. 26. That's how
total
many,
number of Bond movies we count every night.
No, 26. Alcoholic drinks consumed by Daniel Craig in Casino Royale. His debut appearance. He consumed 25 in Spectre, placing him first and second in the most drinks category of any James Bond. 26 drinks.
During that week off, he just hit AA.
Well, he needed them. You see how hurt he got through all the films? He had to forget about it. And the one scene in particular, Casino Royale, where he's tortured, by the way, in a chair, is particularly painful for me to watch, or any guy to watch at that point, because it's that's all we'll say about that. So
you pretty much give up any information.
I got you to scratch.
That's right. And the way he was reacting to it was just fantastic. The next number up, 106. 106.
Number of
runtime. That's the runtime in minutes of Quantum of Solace, making it the shortest Bond film ever filmed.
Well,
the new No Time to Die clocks in at a record-breaking 163 minutes. That's right. So I had no idea Quantum of Solace was 106 minutes long. It's the shortest running time. It's the shortest running time of any James Bond film. Well, this is a British Esquire thing. How can they be wrong?
Right.
He's fact-checking my stuff here. I don't believe that. The next number, 16,315,134,284. That's the number. That's the total box office gross for the official first 24, not factoring in No Time to Die, 24 James Bond films when adjusted for inflation, by the way. That's what they've all brought in. It would only take, what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. It would only take 8, is my math right, at $2 billion apiece? It would take 8 Avengers Endgame to the billions now are kind of unimpressive in movie tallies now, because some movies are bringing in $1 and $2 billion right now, so that's interesting. The number is 0.
The number of times
James Bond's died.
You're both correct. I think until this last one. I don't know. We'll have to see the new one.
I've said Pierce Brosnan is the best Bond. 0.
Okay. Here's another time 0 comes into effect, other than those 2 times. That's the number of times Roger Moore ran or jogged in character on screen as Bond. He wasn't a fan of how he looked on the move running, so he always gave his active scenes to a body double.
Oh.
And I've heard an interview with Roger, and he said exactly that. That's exactly right. He thinks he runs funny. I'm not going to run on camera. I'm going to let a double do that for me. So, yeah. If you guys listen to Roger, I noticed this watching the Roger Moore era films over the past month. Listen to, because a lot of people think British accents are the same, and we know better. They are not. Just like you got different British accents in England. If you listen to the way Roger Moore speaks, the way he speaks in his British accent, and the way Julie Andrews speaks, the actress, they have the same accent. She's almost like the female voice counterpart of him. They have that very proper British.
Very much what they would call like the Queen's English. Like that's the more formal. That's when we think British. That's what we think of.
Exactly.
You go to England, and you're like nobody talks like that.
And let's put it this way. Not all the Bond actors were from England.
Nope.
Sean Connery was Scottish. Pierce Brosnan was Irish. George Lazenby was Australian. I know I soft spot to bring him up, but I did. He was a model.
I mean, they were outcasts from England.
So I really think Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, and Daniel Craig were the only ones from England, if I'm not mistaken, maybe. I guess. So
from Britain.
That's very English. The number is 4. Bond's record for romantic encounters in a single film is 4.
Ooh,
it's a tie. You want to guess who it is? It's a tie between the 2 Bonds.
Roger Moore's got to be one of them.
Well, Roger Moore is one of them, yes.
Is it The Spy Who Loved Me?
Nope. So you're going to go for the movie, too? No, it's not The Spy Who Loved Me, but Roger Moore is one of them. The other one is Sean Connery. So it's Sean Connery and Roger Moore have a tie of 4 romantic encounters in a single film. And Sean Connery, want to take a stab at what Sean Connery film it is? He's got the most romantic encounters.
From Russia with Love?
Good guess. That's not it. It's after. It's later.
I was gonna,
it's actually his last film before Lazenby takes over.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
And that would be
You Only Live Twice.
That's right. That's it. Roger Moore's Most Romantic Encounters 4 was in his last film, A View to a Kill. Believe it or not.
Really?
Yes. Romantic Encounters. All right. The last one I have, Bond by the numbers, is 405. The number, 405, 405. Villains who have bit the dust in Bond movies. With Pierce Brosnan, the deadliest Bond by far, notching 135 kills in 4 film appearances. Pierce Brosnan.
Is that kills he kills himself, not the army?
It just
like
says,
at the end
blows stuff up and kills a bunch of them.
Right. I mean, it's like, it can't count. It can't count for that because like there's hundreds of people get killed in Dr. No's island by itself.
Right.
Right.
Or not island, but his
or on the space
base.
station.
Roger Moore is second with The Man with the Golden Gun. His was the least. His was the most peaceful Bond movie. Was The Man with the Golden Gun, with only 1 kill in that film by James Bond with Christopher Lee.
Just the main guy. He kills the bad guy.
That's right, Christopher Lee. And I got a Christopher Lee trivia thing coming up too. Let's try to squeeze in a couple more because it's bottom of the hour. The first Bond adaptation. It wasn't Dr. No. We talked about it earlier. That honor actually went to the 1-hour dramatization of Casino Royale, which aired on live. It was a live TV production on CBS, October the 21st, which is not too far, the anniversary coming up, 1954, with Barry Nelson as James Bond. Jimmy Bond was the name of him. American secret agent Jimmy Bond in a Casino Royale live production. People forget they used to do live things on television way back when. Playhouse 90, a lot of live dramas on television way back were live drama parts on drama production. So we got James Bond. We're coming to the bottom of the hour. We'll take a break, and when we come back, I got more Bond trivia. We're going to give our favorite James Bond stuff. And, hey, I've got On This Day in History, too, which might include a Bond anniversary for this year, not for this day. But there is a Bond movie this year that it is 40 years old, from 1981. And we'll find out more Bond when we come back.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
That's putting it mildly, 007.
They say that a friend in need is a friend indeed. When those in the Big Apple are in need of a friend, they call on this man, Robert McCall. He'll even the odds.
When you do, believe me, I will be there. I'm here to protect you.
Edward Woodward is the Equalizer.
Wednesday nights at 9.
Fresh perked ground roast coffee. There's nothing like it. Or is there? Is there another way to get that ground roast look? That wonderful aroma? That delicious fresh perked taste? Ah, Taster's Choice. Freeze-dried as soon as it's perked to capture real ground roast flavor. Taster's Choice, regular and green label decaffeinated. Looks, smells, and tastes like ground roast coffee. Ah.
It's okay if you don't understand what he's talking about. He probably doesn't either. It's BK on the air on AM 1450, FM 100.3, and online using the Tunein radio app.
Yes, just like we do every Saturday. People don't know what I'm talking about, but Bond fans today know exactly what I'm talking about. You guys are you guys familiar with the James Bond theme? You know, the guitar theme that's so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they went through a lot to get that theme, and that wasn't originally written for James Bond, character James Bond. Monty Norman wrote that theme for something completely different. Here's a little history about the James Bond theme and how it came to be.
Everyone knows the tune, but few know who composed it. Monty Norman was a big name in the theatre of the 50s and early 60s. His musical about the murderer Dr. Crippen was backed by Cubby Broccoli, later producer of the Bond films.
Cubby Broccoli rang me and asked me to come to his office to meet his new partner, Harry Saltzman. He said, we've just acquired the rights of Ian Fleming's James Bond novels, and we're going to turn them into films. First one is going to be Dr. No. Would you like to do the score?
Did you know the James Bond novels?
No, not really. I mean, I'd heard of James Bond, but I'd never read them.
Then Harry Saltzman made him an offer he couldn't refuse. He invited Monty and his family to Jamaica, where the film was being made, hoping to inspire him.
Well, that was the clincher for me. I don't know whether the James Bond film is going to be a flop or anything, but at least we'd have a sun, sea and sand holiday.
Monty was inspired and, armed with the script, began to write the score. He needed a bold theme to open the film.
So tell me, where did the James Bond theme come from?
It came from a musical that Julian Moore and I were writing called A House of Mr. Biswas, based on V.S. Naipaul's novel.
Monty's musical, based on the story of an Asian community, featured traditional Indian instruments, but it never made the stage.
So I went to my bottom drawer, found this number that I'd always liked, and played it to myself. And I was born with this unlucky sneeze, and what is worse, I came into the world the wrong way round. So it had this very Asian quality.
Well, I get the Indian feel, but where is James Bond in all that?
I thought, what would happen if I split the notes? So I went... And immediately, the moment I did that, I realized that this was what I was looking for.
And the producers agreed. They brought in a new young talent called John Barry to arrange the piece, and both the film and the theme tune were a huge hit. Barry's name went on to become synonymous with 007, which led many people to think he had composed the theme tune. But Monty's creation had set the tone for Bond.
I'd like to send a cable.
Yes, of course.
His sexiness, his mystery, his ruthlessness, it's all there in a few notes.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. Bond.
And obviously, the world agrees.
A little James Bond history of the soundtrack there, of how the theme to James Bond actually came into be. And I didn't see that till probably about 6 or 7 years ago. I knew that Monty Norman had written the theme to James Bond, and I knew that he was always credited. But John Barry composed all the incidental music for a lot of the movies in the future and arranged that. So I'm like, who's this Monty Norman guy I keep seeing as the writer of James Bond? I thought John Barry wrote it or whatever. But listening to that, it's amazing how it went from this, like he said, this Asian-sounding piece to a play or a musical that he'd written, and he just kind of doubled up on the notes and did what he did, worked his magic, and turned it in one of the most iconic themes that we've ever heard. It's played on a guitar the way it is. And now when you hear it, you just instantly associate that with James Bond.
Yeah.
Now, they ditched the guitar part later on from mostly the 70s and the 80s, and they started out the gun barrel sequence with the orchestra playing the theme. Which was the same theme. It was still there. So you guys got to admit, you probably love the theme to James Bond just as much as it's just as good as like Darth Vader's theme or Superman's theme.
Well, like
or
any
Star
good
Wars
theme, when you play it slower and on a different instrument, it can be more like you're sneaking up on somebody,
Right.
or it can be like he's on the bad part, like he's being, he's losing right now,
Right.
and then you can play it faster and more heroically, and it works. I mean, it works
even in a
however you play it.
comedic, lighthearted tone where you did something cool and it's like boo-doo. And you just stop it there. That was a little comedy shot. So, yeah, the theme to James Bond, some interesting stuff. I got some more facts here, too. British thespian Christopher Lee, who we all love, who's no longer with us, who played Dracula, Count Dooku in Star Wars. He also played the man with the golden gun in Roger Moore's self-same title. He had a special connection with the franchise. Did you know that he was Ian Fleming's step-cousin? He was related to Ian Fleming. Christopher Lee was.
Wow.
You know what? Blink and you'll miss her. I have another little quick fact here. Madonna, that is, blink and you'll miss her. The singing star appears for about 2 fleeting minutes in Die Another Day from 2002 as a fencing instructor who trades a few double entendres with Bond, Pierce Brosnan, and she also sings the theme song to Die Another Day. I did not know that was her in the film, by the way. And one of my more least favorite Bond songs, too.
Horribly.
Yeah, it's
that one. We'll talk about some of those two coming up.
In a terrible movie.
Yes.
That one wasn't good. The name James Bond was actually taken from a bird-watching book Ian Fleming had handy when in search as a name for a mundane, as mundane name as possible. The quintessential British hero is named after an ornithologist Dr. James Bond from a book.
Okay, I didn't know that.
That is a new one.
You might as well just threw something up on a wall and threw a dartboard at it. And
that is wild. I'm trying to find the most bland vanilla name, and now
James
it's the most one of the names everyone knows.
Not so bland anymore, is it?
Totally. I mean, it's tied to excitement and action. That's really funny.
Along with that theme.
Romance.
You guys remember the corkscrew jump in The Man with the Golden Gun, where he's in the AMC Javelin car, and he hits that ramp and turns the car turns this corkscrew and flies over the river in the car? That stunt was performed and accomplished in just one take, and was the first stunt ever calculated by a computer modeling for any film ever, when they did it on a computer in 1974. The stunt man, if you watch the making of stuff on the disc for Man with the Golden Gun, he goes, "I'd like to do that again just to be safe." And the producer went, "No, we've got it. You're not doing it again. We don't need that risk."
The insurance underwriter was like, "Nope, done."
That was so funny.
That was also attempted by me on my bike in about 1980. And I still have scars from it.
Right. Did you succeed? So you said attempt.
Oh, no.
You didn't successfully do it. Okay.
Not successful.
Corkscrew jump on a bike just doesn't
over the
sound
ditch.
And then when your second attempt was tried, your dad went, "No, the insurance will not allow you to do that."
We're already on first name basis with way too many people in the ER.
Yes, I had the frequent flyer at Kennestone.
A car that Pierce Brosnan used in Tomorrow Never Dies, which, by the way, as we go along, I'll tell you, that happens to be my favorite Pierce Brosnan film is Tomorrow Never Dies. I love that his second film, probably better than any of them, especially the last two he did. More than 15 BMW 750Ss were destroyed during that scene with the BMW that they shot in there. He didn't have an Aston Martin in that one. He used a real souped-up BMW with a lot of gadgets and whatnot on it. So they destroyed 15 of them. Well, it's shades of Dukes of Hazzard again. How many Dodge Chargers are we going to destroy today? In Casino Royale, another fact: the seven full barrel rolls completed by the Aston Martin. Remember when Aston Martin tumbled in Casino Royale and was destroyed?
That was painful.
7 full barrel rolls that car did by the Aston Martin DBS set a new world record for the most barrel rolls assisted by a cannon. So a lot of cars have a cannon that shoot out a piece of wood, a cylinder piece of wood out from under them to make them flip over. I think Chips used it a lot on on Chips, the TV show.
Oh, yeah, and they went way overboard with it.
Aston Martin also reportedly, believe it or not, I didn't know this, had a deal back then with Daniel Craig allowing him to have any of its cars he wants straight from the factory for the rest of his life.
Wow.
Aston Martin. So he, at least, if anything, Daniel's set up for cars. He won't have a problem
nice
driving around.
Benefit.
Yeah.
Heck, that would have been nice to have that tacked on to his thing. Daniel Craig, another fact. Daniel Craig was the first Bond younger than the series itself when he started. When he started as Bond, he was younger than the film series was. He was the first actor that was younger than the film series.
Till the next one.
Yeah. And he reached So, we got more James Bond facts coming up, including his gun. He didn't originally have a Walther PPK and Dr. No. I'm going to ask these guys, do they know what it was when we come back? The gun that he was replaced by, that they replaced in Dr. No, and more facts when we come back.
Forgive my curiosity, but what is that?
That's my little octopussy.
We'll return after these messages.
Give it up! Podcast Magazine presents the Hot 50 Countdown.
Hi, it's Rob Actis, host of the podcast magazine Hot 50 Countdown. Join me as I count them down from 50 to number 1, the top 50 podcasts in the land as determined by you, the podcast fans. From true crime, society and culture, self-help, health and fitness, science, and every podcast category in between. The Hot 50 Countdown is here.
And don't forget to vote for BK on the Air as one of your favorite podcasts at podcastmagazine.com.
Wanna taste something rich? Nestle's new $100,000 bar.
Oh, wow! Tastes like 100,000.
Hey, Joe, tastes like a lot of dough.
Get back! Tastes like 100,000 snacks. Nestle $100,000 bar.
If you're looking for a really rich-tasting candy bar, try Nestle's new $100,000 bar. Explosively crunchy Crispies, lots of luscious, chewy caramel, all covered in mouth-watering chocolate. for a taste as rich as its name. Come on, give it a bite.
Hey, swell! Love that chewy caramel. All right! There's lots of crunch in every bite. Look out! The $100,000 bar, so rich you want to shout. Nestle $100,000 bar. Man, it's the best candy bar I ever had in my whole mouth.
Stand by for action.
We're back. It's BK on the air here, having a good time. Off the air is on the air. Let me grab a few more facts here on James Bond. It's James Bond Day. Call us today, 770-386-1450, with your favorite James Bond and James Bond actor. Now, we were talking a little bit off the air about this. Dr. No, 007's gun is replaced by a Walther PPK. Actually, on the screen, it's a Walther PP, if you want to be sticky about details about it. But what gun did he replace? If you listen to the dialogue, you'll notice that he had a Beretta 25 caliber, and some people say it's an M1934. Some people say it's a Jetfire. They can't really tell in the movie because they don't show a really close up of it. But it's a Beretta 25 caliber gun, so he got the Beretta replaced. Gun barrel sequence. All the James Bond starts with a gun barrel sequence at the beginning. Did you know that the first three films of the gun barrel sequences for the first three films, that would be Dr. No, From Russia with Love, and Goldfinger. That was not Sean Connery in that gun barrel. That was stuntman Bob Simmons walking along and making the firing at the gun barrel. And what that whole thing means is, I've heard that described by the producers as, that's Bond walking along and he sees an assassin that's about to shoot him and he shoots him instead. That's why when he fires, you see the blood come down over the gun barrel.
But didn't they add the blood later?
They did add the blood. I think they did. I can't remember if it's in the first couple of films.
Because I think the first time it just kind of goes woozy, like it just moves around.
Corner, yeah.
And I remember when they added the blood.
I do know that the first Pierce Brosnan films, it was a CGI gun barrel with CGI blood. That's when they replaced it with a little more slicker. The barrel reflects the light as it goes by and looks a little more realistic as it goes by. But Connery didn't appear in the gun barrel until Thunderball. That was Sean Connery, and from then on through Diamonds Are Forever is Sean Connery. They all looked a little different as they fired their gun. George Lazenby came in and dropped down to one knee to fire. Roger Moore had a tuxedo, came in with two hands. Timothy Dalton, I think, had one hand and kind of went to the side. They all looked a little different. So
yeah, Timothy Dalton was the Han Solo shot.
That's right. He only needs one arm.
The other one's for balance and for looking cool to fill up the frame.
That's exactly right, yeah. And Bond shot first,
and
just
Bond
like Han did. So,
yes.
And I did not know this until I read up on it. The gun barrel in the earlier films that they used for so many years till they replaced them, Maurice Bender, who designed the title sequence, the real flashy title sequence of the Bond films, that was a photo of a real gun barrel that they used. He put a little pin camera down the barrel of a gun and took that photo and enhanced it, and that is an actual rifling of a gun barrel. I thought it was an animated painting or something that they might have superimposed or did some funny work on. But I did not know that was a real gun barrel, so that's new to me. Let's get to all of our personal opinions about Bond, which I know that we all have them here with BK on the air. I think I'll go to Walt first, since I'm trying to make up the time you missed on the last time you were in here. We'll put you up first. Favorite, and we can't just say what it is. We got to give a reason why. Favorite Bond actor. Who is your favorite person to portray Bond, and why are you picking that person?
I think, I go back and forth between Sean Connery and Roger Moore.
It's hard.
I think I like Sean Connery as Bond better, but Roger Moore was the Bond I grew up on. So, I have that affinity towards him. I also like how he's a little bit campier than the other Bonds.
And he doesn't like running, obviously. We found that out.
Does not like running.
It's a stunt double that runs.
As I've gotten older, I can
someone's
relate.
running from me here. That one. So yours is, your gut reaction is your head says Sean Connery, but your heart says Roger Moore.
Roger Moore.
Okay, good. I can totally understand that. We can do a head and heart thing. Alan, I think I know who yours is.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with what he just said. I really love how Daniel Craig has portrayed Bond, because he has brought sort of that grittiness back that I thought Sean Connery had, sort of that real man, chiseled jaw, broad-shouldered. So I like that, but I grew up with Roger Moore, and so Roger Moore is still kind of like the Bond I think of first. When you say James Bond, it's always Roger Moore that pops in my head first.
For us. It's so hard to kind of go, who do I pick?
And I love them all.
Right.
But I think in terms of, and maybe it's because I like the movie so much, I do like the Daniel Craig Bond.
So he would be the one you'd pick as your favorite actor to portray Bond.
Right now, yes.
Okay. Right now, because that could change, probably?
It could change because you could ask me tomorrow.
So you're with the wind. Okay, whichever way the wind's blowing.
No. I've thought about this a lot. I do like Timothy Dalton a lot, but we only have 2 movies to look at for him where we've got a little bit better body of work from Roger Moore and from Daniel Craig.
Right.
Okay. I think if he had started 2 movies earlier, I'd have liked those 2 movies a lot better.
Probably. With Timothy Dalton?
Yeah, because I just don't like Pierce Brosnan.
Everybody wanted to change. Some people wanted Roger Moore to hang it up after For Your Eyes Only, and that's when Timothy Dalton would have taken over. So it would have given him a few more films, but he didn't. It wasn't in the cards for him. My favorite Bond and when I was younger, I changed my mind when I got older because I finally seen all of them as I got older because I hadn't seen all of them when I was younger. My favorite Bond growing up when I was a kid was Roger Moore because he was our generation's
He was our
Bond,
Bond.
like Walt said. But looking at them all over now and even watching them again here recently over the past month and a half, it's still cemented in my head that Sean Connery is the quintessential James Bond. It's almost like I look at it and I'm like, there's no way they could have cast anybody else. They could have, and we would have known who Sean Connery was. Maybe not as Bond. But just watching those Connery films again, I couldn't believe it. And even when he stepped back into it in Diamonds Are Forever after he quit, then they brought Lazenby in, and they brought Sean Connery back for Diamonds Are Forever. He just stepped right back into it and just played him flawlessly. And you flash forward to 83 with Never Say Never Again, which is a loose remake of Thunderball because they didn't own the rights to the screenplay. That's why they can remake that one. He stepped right. He was playing an older Bond, trying to get back in shape to go on his missions. And Irving Kershner directed The Empire Strikes Back, directed Never Say Never Again. I thought it was great. My unpopular Bond opinion is Never Say Never Again is better than Thunderball. And people are like, how can you say that? I'm like, I just like it better. I don't know why.
I agree with you. To me, it's more watchable.
Right. So that's my favorite. Now, we'll go through. We're ticking out. We're running out of time. I have to put some of this on Facebook. Alan, we'll go with you first. Favorite Bond movie from each actor. Sean Connery. What's your favorite Sean Connery film? Goldfinger. Okay. Favorite Roger Moore film?
Probably The Spy Who Loved Me.
Spy Who Loved Me is favorite Roger Moore film. Okay. Timothy Dalton, which one is your favorite?
License to Kill.
License to Kill, his second film. Pierce Brosnan.
GoldenEye.
And then Daniel Craig, what's your favorite one?
Skyfall.
So far.
So far.
Until you see this one. Okay. Good list. Okay, Walt, first Sean Connery, favorite film?
From Russia with Love.
Very good James Bond movie. That really started to
excellent. But it's very close with Goldfinger. Those are two.
And Robert Shaw plays a great Russian assassin in that film, and we're all Robert Shaw fans. How about your favorite Roger Moore?
Spy Who Loved Me.
Spy Who Loved Me. That's a lot of people's favorite.
And by the way, Moonraker would be a very close second.
But
right? That's because when I was a kid and I was Star Wars, but then when you look at an actual, quote, spy movie, I do think The Spy Who Loved Me is a better movie.
As far as a spy film goes,
Moonraker is still fun,
and I think out of all the title sequences for Bond, I think Spy Who Loved Me's got the best title sequence at the beginning. It's great how they put it together. Timothy Dalton, I think that's easy for you to choose which one you like best from Timothy. It's the second one, right? License to Kill. You don't like The Living Daylights.
I don't like Living Daylights.
Okay.
License to Kill.
License
probably.
to Kill.
Yeah, that's
you got 2 to choose from.
You got 50-50 on here. Kind of like with Lazenby, you got 1 to choose from. We just
skip right past it.
How about Pierce Brosnan?
Oh, Brosnan, yeah.
I just wouldn't even watch a Pierce Brosnan.
I wasn't a huge fan of Brosnan as Bond, but you know what? I do like Pierce Brosnan better than Daniel Craig. That's my opinion on him.
Really?
But I didn't like his last 2 films. They're one of his Die Another Day is one of the worst Bond films ever made, and my second one is a Daniel Craig film. Worst ever made. All right, Daniel Craig film. Which one's your favorite Daniel Craig?
Casino Royale.
That's really good too.
That's a really that's just such
I'll go through mine right quick since we're really running out of time. Sean Connery, my favorite Sean Connery film's got to be Goldfinger. That to me, that's the one that's parodied the most. It's got the most. It's got the most. It's really when they hit their stride with the theme and the title sequence, and they really got into it there. That's when they started everything. The score by John Barry's fantastic. For me, Roger Moore, my favorite Roger Moore film is Octopussy because of just the story, the action, the thing they put together, the score by John Barry. Everything came together for that one. Running close second is Moonraker, though, for Roger Moore. I mean, Moonraker was made fun of when it first came out, and now people watch it go, space shuttles. We've had those, and now they're gone. So it's very believable. My favorite Pierce Brosnan is Tomorrow Never Dies, his second film. I think it was because Michelle Yeoh was in it with him as the Asian counterpart. She was a fantastic partner for him in that. Jonathan Pryce played the bad guy mogul that manipulates the public with the media. Hello. That was totally believable. That whole story was great. And I think now, my unpopular opinion about Daniel Craig is Spectre is my favorite film, only because with Spectre they went back to the original way of Bond. It had some comedic tones, especially when he fell out of the building at the beginning in Mexico and he fell right on the couch that was sitting there out of nowhere. There was a couch. Had some little Roger Moore mixed in. It had the gun barrel sequence was back at the beginning. M was now Ralph Fiennes was playing M. Ray Fiennes was playing M. Yeah. M's office was back to the wood grain office with the red door at the beginning. It went right back to the way it used to be. And Christoph Waltz playing Blofeld, I thought was amazing to say, hey, all of this has happened. Your last film's all was because of me. I'm the big villain again. We have another big villain in a Bond film. Now we haven't seen the latest one, so my opinion could change about that. So favorite, we still got a few minutes. Alan, favorite James Bond gadget that he ever used. Got a favorite?
On the spot. And probably because of Moonraker, his little wrist-activated dart.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome. That's great.
That's cool.
Well, it saved him in the gyra thing that he was
That's
being...
right, the centrifuge.
Centrifuge and...
The ejection seat from the car.
So you like this?
I love that.
Does that count as a gadget for him?
I think it would be.
Although the magnetic watch that pulls the zipper down off of anybody's dress is...
Ooh, that's
important.
That's Live and Let Die, right? Live and Let Die? Yeah, I think or Man with the Golden Gun. I can't remember which one that was used in. My favorite gadget is more vehicle-oriented, too. My favorite gadget is the little mini jet at the beginning of Octopussy, the little tiny jet, the one-man jet he gets in, and he flies and destroys the thing. I couldn't believe that. The guy who owned that jet lent it to them to use. And it was great. So
very cool.
Thanks, guys.
We didn't cover everything we wanted to.
Everything, but that's okay. James Bond. We might take people's calls next week when people go see it. You can call in next week and tell us about it. We're going to go see it today. I'm sure you guys will see it hopefully over the next week or so.
This week.
BK on the air saying everyone stay shaken and not stirred out there. We'll see you on the podcast and we'll see you live next week here at WBHF. It's BK on the air.
Take a giant step for mankind.
Where's Drax?
Oh, he had to fly.